really great to see you all here and to have the opportunity to launch this first stakeholder consultation of the VBA. And as you know, we do this in collaboration with Novartis, as well as the integrated value assessment, a roundtable or platform that we have been doing for 5 years now in Switzerland. And it's really great to have a much broader participation and also global and international participation today here.
For those who are not fully familiar with the Value Balancing Alliance, so we are a non-for-profit organization founded in June last year. So we are alive a little bit more than 13, 14 months now. And the main purpose is that we would like to develop and introduce methodologies which reflect the business contribution to society and to the enterprise value. In the end, going beyond just profit maximization to how do you optimize your value contribution as company. What we should take into account is that our overall economy is in a huge transition phase. In the end, we are moving from an industry-based economy to a more intangible-based economy. And the current accounting systems are not reflecting this transition yet. That leads to the situation that if you're just thinking about the book and the market value, that we have huge differences and that we should be fully aware that just looking at financial terms is not sufficient anymore if you want to discuss the value of a company or the value contribution of a company. In the end, we are developing methodologies, how you're generating data and how you're using information with regard to measuring performance in new ways. What we can offer to our members, and this is also a call for others who might try to join in. First of all, you get a direct access to the development of the methodologies. So you are designing, in the end, the future of management accounting. The second part is we are running internally beyond the piloting exercises, peer learning sessions. So you will be enabled based on the conversations with other companies and other experts from the different companies with regard to the implementation and application of these methodologies to fully understand what is in the end changing in your business models if you're applying impact-based methodologies. And for sure, we will provide you with access to the organizations we are working with. We are going to inform you about the recent developments, what we see, what's going on externally. And as mentioned in the beginning, this is currently quite tremendous.
What we found out the challenge of comparison with other companies. So to benchmark when we disclose our impacts, is that good, is that bad? And even if you are transparent and telling how is your methodology, what coefficients you use, you cannot benchmark. And this was the main motivation for us to join.
You know, as Eugenia just said, compare against others. I mean, investor has really welcomed this idea, but they also said, well, we need to somehow measure the benchmark or identify a benchmark. What does good practice look like? And if we're the only one, it's just kind of difficult to do so. So that's really our motivation to then go in and start founding together with the other colleagues here on the line, the Value Balancing Alliance in the midst of last year.
We really do believe this is not only an anticipation of a change, but the change is underway. So impact measurement, impact valuation, holistic measurement of impacts and integrating that into reporting is no more something that is discussed in a few forums, but it is reality. Legislation is increasingly asking for it, as Christian outlined in his presentation. The big standard setting organizations are moving towards that direction, so it is there. And the motivation for SAP is also in that context to lean into that change and not to wait until we have to accept the results and the outcome and to be changed. So we wanted to be part of the group which Christian shows on his first slide, that is part of shaping this environment of impact measurement and valuation. And importantly, not developing from scratch, but build on all the good works that really a lot of organizations and individuals have already accomplished.
Our motivation goes very much in the same direction, of course, what our VBA colleagues just said. Overall, Porsche is a very numbers-driven company, so measurability of performance plays a huge role in our company for the company steering and management. Also, when it comes to sustainability.
We really hope that we can scale this within our group. My colleagues from Audi, from Skoda, they are all very interested, and we really want to share this knowledge within our group. So I encourage all other companies who are considering to join the Value Balancing Alliance to keep this in mind, that it will give you a huge legitimacy boost within the organization if you have this external Value Balancing Alliance support.
We really believe that sustainability information, particularly data on various risks and opportunities related to everything from climate change and human capital risks to business ethics and governance. Well, all of these underpin resilient and efficient markets, right? It helps companies with a range of decision making, whether it be around their targets and timetables to meet commitments, to improve understanding of peer benchmark performance, and to demonstrate, either through business operations or products and services, how they serve the needs of their business, their employees, as was mentioned, and society at large. And what we really look to do, and what we have been doing, is working with a range of framework developers, standard setters, coalitions, to really both understand and help companies move along the framework of ensuring that there is comparable, consistent, reliable information, which is where the SASB standards fall, in really identifying the ways that both topics and metrics could be used to identify the issues that are financially material to companies and help them report in such a way that it generates comparable, consistent, reliable information that they can use to inform decision making.
The need for more harmonization in the area and the need for common rules in this area. And in that context, we were quite enthusiastic about hearing about the VBA and the members who themselves found out, wait a second, we are doing it in BASF. Novartis is doing it. Caring has been doing it since long. There's Philips. And all these EP&L approaches are not really comparable. So they themselves, as corporates, not because the financials have been asking for standardization, but they themselves found out we need to have it in a more coherent and comparable way, because they themselves want to be comparable, whether they're on track and towards a sustainable path.
But I think, as Lars said before, I think the bottom-up approach is very important. I mean, if the industry comes together and gives themselves how they want to deal with it, it makes it much easier for the regulator. And I think this is very much in the DNA of Switzerland. If you look at the paper on sustainable finance the government has done, it is very inspired by this. The government should facilitate things like this, helping the industry come together and get itself the rules, because if the bureaucrats like me sit down and regulate top down, it gets difficult and you risk to become things you cannot implement. So I think you cannot underscore the importance of the initiative in that sense.
But in terms of, what are we looking for? I mean, I think a lot of things were mentioned, right? It's harmonization, it's standardization. There are other initiatives out there, and I think it's music to my ears, the comments of Lars and Lucas. I do think it is the industry's role to lead this effort, but we do need to align the language that we're using and the way that we do this. And I also wanted to mention, the regulations that are coming, like the EU taxonomy or the new disclosure regulations for asset managers on adverse impacts. And these are things that hopefully the VBA can keep in mind, but also to stay in front and in communication with the regulator. So the regulator is very aware of all of the things that are happening and can keep this in mind, just to avoid any kind of duplication or even nullifying, really, of this good work.
Now, what we also wanted to achieve today was to explore together what does it really take. And I think two things have come out pretty clear. We need collaboration, and I can also echo what Christian has said. In my 8 years of being in this field, not that long to be honest, but it's the time where I've seen most collaboration amongst standard setters, amongst framework creators, amongst rating agencies. I've never seen this type of collaboration before. So that's really great and plays into our cards. We need to act together, and we need to harmonize the current proliferation of different sustainability standards that are very input and output oriented and not so much impact. But we truly believe that if we want to change towards a more regenerative economy, we need to look into